Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Here, if you see we have various app studios there, right? Here we have case types. In this case types only we have the assistance request, new vendor service case type. In the service case type, we have the particular service details, everything. Now what I will do is I will run that assistance request case type and I will show you. This is our assistant request case type. Here we are called our service case type here. Here what we are going to do is we are going to make some kind of UI related changes in order to manipulate the data. Manipulate means copying data from one place to another. Here, what we will do is in the workflow tab, we have a review service case summary. Where it is, here it is review service case summary. When we are opening this, here what details it will come is in the service case type, whatever the service the customer, the service provider, is filling, such as he replaced the battery or tire or whatever service he did. He will select that one how much quantity to happen. Once he selected that one, we need to show it only that particular part. We need to show it here. Now how it will be displaying is it will be displaying all the things. Look, I will run this particular case I will create a case my LSF flat there. And here think I see in the right half the stations. Let me to solutions that are going. Thank you. Thank you. Now here, what we'll do is we'll submit it. This is the tabular column, which will be shown for the service case type. Now, service case type has been called. It's loading. We'll go there and we'll fill the particular service. If you see here, the service provider team has this much services available. In this what the based upon customer is doing a 2-tire replacement and he's doing a 1-2 tire repair. Now, totally what? How much services is doing? I2 services is doing 2 into 200 we are doing it 2 into 100, 200 and 2 into 25 to 250. totally 250 is done. Now, like when we go to this one, like it's got completed. Now, like we will go to the main case. If you see here in this resolution, we need to have the summary of that service, whatever we did. This one, like it's not populating. Like here, like what we'll do is like whatever service the user selected, we will be copying it here. Like we will be getting an idea like how it will be processed, everything. For that only, like what we are going to do is like we are going to add some kind of fun fields, and then later like we are going to create one data transform. Like data transform, what is mean by data transform is like it is one of the development studio of your rule, like where you can copy or populate data from one place to another. For this only, like this is the requirement. For this scenario, we are going to create something. Like for that, like I will go to case type points, and here like I will open the assistance request. Here in this review service summary, like there is no like data. Like here, what we are going to do is like we are going to add them data. Here, like what it should come is like in previous service, case type whatever case, like whatever data we have. Like selected those services quantity, cost and total cost. Those things, it should be populated here as a read-only manner. Read-only means like no one will be able to edit it. Just he can review what is the exact billing happened in the previous service. For that, like what we will do is like we will add in particular embedded data. Embedded data means like already whatever we are using there. Like same thing we are going to use here. Like embedded means like more than one field is available in that particular data. For that, like what we are going to do is like I am selecting like selected services. And here in the type I am going to select as an embedded data. Like here, like if it is a text field, means we will have text. Like if it is Boolean means Boolean drop down means pick list. Like that we will add ride. Like these selected services is embedded data means like we have more than one field. More than one field means what and all, like we have like a total quantity price unit, and then we have like various kinds of details like tire replacement, battery, like that. We have more than one entry and we have like multiple columns. For that, like what data type you need to use is like you need to use the embedded data. Embedded data means more than one data has been embedded into that particular thing. Embedded data, it will ask like what is that particular data object. Like we have created the particular data object like services offered. In that services offered data object only, we have like tire replacement, battery, everything. We have it in there. Like that one we refer. And here like more than one record is there. It's not a single record, right? We have tire replacement battery like that. More than one record. Like what we will do is like list of records. And like after adding this, like we will add another data. Now like see now automatically that will be populated here. Selected services description line, total quantity service unit cost. Like if you see here more than one data, one field it has. Like we give it as an embedded data and it has been populated in our UI here. Now here, what we are going to do is like finally, if you see here we have like description line, total quantity, service and unit cost. Now what we need to have is like we need to have like a final total value, like invoice the total. Like based upon total number of values, whatever they did like that total values, we need to have it here. Like invoice total, like what it will be the format. It isn't like money should be like in currency. For me, here, if you see currency is there, just to build, select that one. And like here, the currency, how it should calculate. This field will be automatically calculated based upon line total quantity, service unit cost, or how much ever we did automatically. It should calculate dynamically. For that, what we'll do is like we will use like this calculation field. And here like what we will do is like we will select the sum of, like why we are doing this is like the sum of line total unit cost service. This only, we need to make it all the thing. Like in the field of like what we are going to do is like in it will automatically populate. Here like what we are going to select is like we are going to select like line total. Like a line total, we'll have all that line total, exact line total. Like example for first tire replacement, you are making 2 quantity. Unit cost is 100 means 2 into 100, 200 will be there in line total. Similarly, like a battery replacement, 500 means 1 means like 500, quantity is 1, unit cost is 500 into 100. Line total will be 500. Like all the line total. Line total means each service line total. Like we will be calculating the sum of all things will be the final invoice total. You understood, right? Like what we are doing. Just like logic say we have doing and like we are just clicking on something. After this is review screen. Review screen means like after everything has been filled by the like service provider. We want to show this only essence, read only format that they can just verify. This is the final review, like billing review, like whether it is fine or not, like that you can see. But as you selected, it is only for read only. Here we see, I couldn't read only. We need to say now, make that option as read only. Only in what invest will we make that calculated. It was only like invoice total. And then previous things also we made to make in service case type. Is there also like we made it as read only. And now like we wanted to make this as like no one is allowed to edit this data, only like they need to see it as a read only value. For that, like here, what we can do is like in this, like here, like we have another acquired read only calculated, like that. Here we will select like read only. Here, like remaining things, everything we will select as read only service quantity. And unit for why we are doing here, read only means like in previous stage, only previous case type, like the color service provider will fill all the details. What is the service done and everything he will fill. And now, like just we will need to make it as an read-only data where we will show to the final results. Now like we have added this one. Now like what we will do is like we will submit it. We are selecting the service as like unlock 1 and battery charge 1. Totally like we have selected. Like this is the editable that like he can fill the details. Like now we will submit it. Now it went to review of somebody. If you see here, like we got the table alone, like in the review screen, but we didn't get the data. Like why we didn't get this? Like copying from one case type to another case type has not developed yet. Like if we develop only like from that, whatever the customer service provider filled the service, automatically it will populate in this particular review resolution or review service summary. Like here, everything it will be read only, all the things will be read only. For making this like populating only, like we are going to make some manipulation of like copying of data from one place to another. Like in service case type, like we filled, like a service provider filled all the details. He made 3 services. Like whatever services we did like in this particular final resolution, we should get the summary. This is service, then this is the cost. Everything summary we should get. That is not happening. In order to do that, like we need to use some kind of a logics in Pega, where we need to copy a data from one place to another. Like for that, like what we are going to do. Like we need to identify like from where to where. We need to copy the data first. In this scenario where we need to copy the data from service case type, we need to copy the data. The service is like whatever the customer selecting. Those data need to be copied to like assistance request summary screen. For that, like what we are going to do is like we are going to make some configuration change here. Like I'm going to open this particular process. Like whatever the service provider feels that data should be populated to the main screen survey like assistance request summary screen. In order to do that, like we need to have some logic. Like in order to achieve that logic, like data transform will be useful. What is mean by data transform is like data transform is one of the rule type, where it will helps us to copy, pop like, append like in order to update any kind of property from one place to another. Like those things, it will be useful. Like you in your Pega, like in Pega, if you know data transform and activity, 9% of your requirements, it would be easy for you to implement. Why? Because like maximum what you will do, you will copy a data from one place to another. You will update the data like map different data to different places. Like that only you will do. Those things and all like using activities and data, and some you can achieve it. For here, like we can see, like how we can achieve using data transform. Like now, what we are doing is like here, like we have the particular connector. Like here, like what we are going to do is like we are going to view the properties in this connector. Here only, like the service provider are filling the screen example, like tire replacement, battery, everything they are filling here. Like once they filled. Like what need to be happen is like we need to have some kind of fun copying the data. Like in order to copy the data. Like if you see like you have like setup properties and applied data transform. If there is only one data to copy, You can use this set properties easily. It will copy from one place to another. But like now we have like more than one, it can be have. We need to use like data transform. Like you just to be a selecting applied data transform. And here like what we'll do is like we'll use some. We'll copy some like we'll create some data transform name. Copy selected services. Whatever selected services like in this particular screen. Like from this case type we need to copy to the another assistant request case type review summary screen. Like now I created this one. And now what I'm going to do is like I'm going to open. If you see here, you can enter the name of it. If you're newly creating, you can enter the name of it. And like from here, like what you can do is like you can open this cross array. If you're opening this, it will be opening the rule type. Like example, like yesterday we saw right, like it will be opening in that way. I'm just clicking on it. Now it got open with that new type. Here like we need to mention the class name, the rule sets and the click to context everything. Can same thing yesterday what we saw. Google Road Work Service in a rule set a rule, situation and the name everything. Here like what we are going to do is like we are going to click on create and open now. Like this is that rule type is data transform and rule name is like copy selected services. Now basically what we are going to do is like the data which is in the service case type like service class. We are going to copy it into assistant request class. Assistant request is like main case type that there only. We are going to show that review summary. There only we are going to copy the data. For that like this is the particular This is the data transform and you have like definition, parameters, pages and classes. This much fact. Here, whatever logic everything you can perform in this data transfer. If you see here like you have various actions here. Like you have like set, remove, update page, search, comment. Append, map to like a for each page. This for each page in. These things under like looping. Like in a normal tech, traditional coding, you will be react about for loop and alright. For loop, like in records, you need to loop like those things and all. You can use this action. Like for other like, if you wanted to set one property value means, you can use it here. And if you want to set it in like updating the page means you can use it here. Those things and or you can do it here. Like whatever requirement is there. Accordingly, you can use the respective page properties everything. Like mainly the data transform is useful for manipulating the data from one place to another. Such as like here, if you see like when we are using setting the data, like you can set one property. Example, like you can use, like you have first name. You need to set that first name by default automatically. Like what you can, usually you can give like dot name equal to. Like what it will do is like whenever the screen is launching, automatically the name will be setting to kernel. Like you need not to fill it. By default, it will set to kernel. Like after that, like if you want to edit your name is like in the user screen, you can edit it. Like in order to have the data hard-coded, you will use this data transfer. Like if you see an example like the recent travel booking application. Like you are booking some like a bus from Hyderabad to like a Mumbai. Like a feeling in red bus you are booking. Like after choosing that like a traveled like after. what you will be doing in the first like. I'm asking you, like you, say me like while booking and bus in red bus. Like what and all details will be feeling. First thing, like I need to select first the date. Correct. Whenever I want to select, what you will be selecting first, you will be selecting from date, like from it, like the where is when you are traveling, then like a place to place and like a store. You will be travel date. You will be selecting boarding point on boarding, like onboarding point, that only from on to. Then like you will be selecting travel date. AC. This thing central, you will select. If you see here, from what should be your travel date. By default is like suppose you are searching today means like the application once. Like today should be the default date. You need not to select the date today like automatically. It should be defaulted. Like if you want, like yourself, suppose your journey is tomorrow means, then you can edit, like you can select that date of journey field, and then you can select like tomorrow's date. In order to achieve the default configuration, you can use this data transfer. Here you can mention like suppose, like in travel applications, if you are doing means like a journey date, like you have journey data and field name. This is an example. I'm saying journey data is a field name you are having. Here like what you can use is like you can use like current date time. Current data means today. If you are seeing means today will be the date. Tomorrow, if you are seeing means tomorrow will be the date. Here, like what we'll be doing is like we have like various functions. Like in the gear icon, if you click, you have various functions. Like if you search for date means like you will be getting like what are the date related configurations you have. Like in the date. Like if you have like here, if you see like you have like current date. Like what we are going to do is like we are going to click on current date. Just we are going to add it. Like I will remove this name and then in the end like we will add like close icon. Now if you are clicking on test. Click. If you at the rate, it will display all the things. Like what do you want? If you can select, like here, the function. Like what you want is like current date, time you want. Like you can just select like current date time. Like here, like we'll go here and then current date time. It will be having all the functions here. Example, when you hover over this one, it will be asking like what will be the string date format? What is the string time zone? Everything you need to mention. If you mention like it will be showing that a particular date, time, everything. Like here, like we have like various kinds of and functions like in order to get your particular date, times, everything. Example, I am using some property called as an px create data. Like px create date time will be like some kind of fun created property. Like here, create data is there. I will use that one and then now we will check. If you see here, create date time, like we have some date like selecting first, or just like what we can do is like we can do like a at here, like we are getting some related error where we are not getting like a correct time. Like example, like I will write one manual expression there. We will see like how to get in current time. Like if you see here, current time, current date, everything we have. Just if you are doing day like this means then like if you are clicking on when you are clicking on like you will be getting like this particular this will be your default value dynamically. Like default value in the sense like it will be like every time. Like example for this scenario, I'm saying like if you are going to be using a new app, like if you are going to be using a new app, like if you want to change to tomorrow, that is your wish, you can. After that, you can manually change it. But first time they are asking like default should be today's day. Suppose if you are logging to today means today, tomorrow if you are logging means tomorrow's date. It should be dynamically. Today is 6th, tomorrow is 7th, tomorrow you today. If you log in means automatically your journey date should be mapped to a today's date. 6 like tomorrow. If you log in means like it should be mapped to like 7th. In order to do that, like you will use this data transform rule like in which you can achieve that functionality. You understand? Point is like I'm understood, but point is like can you go to App Studio back? Like in actually we are just doing data runs for last step that we want all the entire field for real only purpose. Like whatever we are doing in selected services, we wanted to populate here. But actually for that only read only purpose we need to do data transfer. It's like going to service and select there and all these things. But actually why is not coming from the third step to fourth step directly? Like that the grid is coming. Like that layout is coming. Like line quantity unit total. Those things are coming but the data is not coming. Like why data will not come is like this is different case type, that is different case type. Service case type is different, right? And accession request is different. Like we only need to figure, like we only need to make a connection where the data, like how the data will be copied. We only need to make those changes. We can make that service request. Also, we can put on the review as well, like, but actually we need to fill the data again, correct? Again, we need to fill the data right, but we should not do that like, whatever we want, result correct. For after doing this data transfer, we get result directly. Whatever, three services we have filled means that three services alone. It will copy like, only the three data will be present in the review screen. We can do that like for that only like. You can make that layout change. Example like the table is visible that you need cost total quantity. That is visible but no data. Like for data connection, we only need to make some logic changes. For that only data transform is used. Data transform, like it will be useful for like this kind of things and like whatever we have shown you. I told you right, journey there. Like those things and all. If you want to build means like using data transform, you can set a default date that you can every time you can go like and you can make those kind of an updations like whenever you need. Like just like I will open this one. Create and service. Here, like what we are going to do is like here, like what we want to copy like whatever the data is in service class to an assistant request class. If you see class itself different here for service case type, we have service class and assistant request. Like we have like work-assistant like that we have. What we need to do is like the data which is present in this service class, it should be copied to that, like to the assistant request class. For that, like here only like in this particular data transform, like we are going to make some kind of an logic, like what we are going to do. The service every time, the service won't be one single. Like some customer, they will provide like some 2 services. For some customer, they will provide 3 services. Some customers, they will provide 4 services. What we need to do? We need to do the looping. Like example, 4 services, there means like that for looping. We need to do like in, like an example 4 results are there for looping. We need to do. For that, like here, what we are going to do is we are going to use action call for each page. For each page, like where we wanted to check is like we wanted to check on the particular service list. Here, like what we are going to do is like we are going to select page list services. If you see like services is already there. Why we are doing this is like this services is the page list like where it will have all the services. Like in this page, all the services will be there. Like example, like a totally we are providing 7 services means all the 7 services will be present here. But like what we need to do is like whatever services we selected, we fill that only we need to copy. In order to do that, like we wanted to loop all over all the 7 services, and in that, like we need to check like what services we filled. That only we need to fetch it. Like for here, like we are doing, what we will do is like we will add like when condition. What is mean by when? Already we discussed in some App Studio configuration. When is like when, if it is true when, it is true like that, like when, like quantity, like out of 7 services, whenever the quantity is greater than 0. Like in target, we just select services. We put here dot. Then after we get optional services, but in case type, we have assistant request services and one more is present here. Why we are not getting that remaining one? You can go there in target. Just remove services. You are saying here. Actually, we are only getting services. Why we will be getting services? Because like the data transform we created on service class. Like only services will be getting else. Like we will get like understood. We are going to start in services. Then we created it as 4. That's why we are getting all this. Like if we are getting, we are not. If we are doing in. Assistance request means only assistance request we will get. If we are going to work, then we get 3 options. If we are getting work rules like this, first column will not display, second only it will display because like we are going to remove that service, right? Second one only it will display automatically. Actually, this is a needar key. What it will do is like first, like it will whatever we are going to use here, like it will check in the service class. Service class because this data transform we created in service class completely like this. If you see go road work service, completely here it is. If it is not available here, then it will check in work class. Work means go road work like that. Still, if it is not available here, it will be checking for go road. Like still the data is not available, it will checking go. Like that. It will be checking one by one the data. But in go road we get three options like service person's request, and that one is present. Case type, correct. Like no, like that is different, right? Like if you see here like a services, we created data transform in service class. We are getting service related data, but like normally after work, like you should have assistant request or like we have like a new end or something is right. That thing is not applicable for this particular scenario. Only it's not displaying. Like whatever. Actually, if you want to create data transfer on all the process, all the case type, don't go to the specific one. How to do that? You can create in work class. Go route. Like if you create means all this, particular if your assistant request everything you can access. Now like what we are doing is like only for services. Like in the service case type, like we have services like total 7 services we are providing. In like whatever services, the like we made for the particular customer, that services only, we need to copy it to that assistant request. Case type, we should not copy all the case type. Only like we are doing using for each page and for each page, and what it will do is like there is total 7 services provided means it will check all the 7 services. And like we are checking like quantity. Like whenever the quantity is greater than 0, that time, like it will get to the measurements it should be minimum 1. That time, like we are going to append it. Append. It means like we are going to map it to add, we are going to add it to that the grid, empty grid in the transition request. Here, like what we are going to do, like we are going to add that particular class name. Like here, I'm making like assistant request dot selected services. Like since like we are in this particular service class, how it will know we need to append it to the assistant request class. For that, we only need to define it, right? Like for that, like what we are going to do, like we are going to define in this pages and classes. What we are giving here is like we are going to like example this assistance request. Assisted request is there. Like here, like what we are going to do is like we are going to define this in the page set class. Here like a class name, we are going to update it as like the particular service request class, assistant request class. Actually, this will be like a little complicated only. Because this is like original Dev Studio complex logic scenarios. Like you will be getting confused. I will explain like how many other times you wanted. Just like, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Because since you are a newcomer, it is very difficult for you to understand. Assistant SI 10 fee request. Now, like we are going to do is like we are going to save this particular. We are going to save like a current source page. We will view it and we will save it. Now it got saved. I will explain the logic here. What we are going to do is we have two case types. One is assistant request and another thing is service case type. Here, we saw this, assistant request is parent case type. Unlike services like child. Already, we saw this in previous scenarios. Parents, how to use everything. In case type, we just included the service case type. Whenever customer creates a 1. Even is assistant request case type. Whenever customer creates an assistant case type, what he will do? He will fill the customer details. What issue they have and what is the street. What is the make and model of the car. Everything he will do it and later what he will do? He will assign some service provider and then the service case type will be called. Here in the service case type, then the service case type will be called and here, what we will do is we will fill details, whatever the services they have did. All the services we will update and then we need to go back again to that one case. Because we need to copy the data whatever the services we provided here and we need to copy to that. But back to this particular case. Then only that case will be considered as completed. This is the scenario. You understood, right? Normally, main case will be created. Customer won't see this case and all he will see only this case. Assist and request. Assist and request case will be created. He will fill all the details model, make state, city, everything he will fill and after that we called the service case type as a child. This service case type will be called. It will be there. The service provider will enter whatever the services they are providing, they will fill that one. After filling that one, this data need to be carried to the parent case one style. All this service provider fill these details. It need to be carried to this particular parent case. And once this parent sees that, then they need to complete the case completely. This is the scenario. Now here we will take service case type. Service case type, you have totally a different sound services. For example, service 1. Service 2, service 3, service for service 5. What is means? Each service? Again, example tire replacement battery key lockout engine that. We have different services. Now, what we are doing is for the particular customer, a 1. We are providing only 2 services. Yes 1 and yes 2, only 2 services is provided. But we have totally 5 services in our application, but we are providing only 2 services because his issue will be resolved within these 2 services only. What we need to do is we need to copy these 2 services to that particular case type, a parent case type. We should not copy remaining data on that, only this 2 case type and what is the quantity cost. We need to do that one. For that, what we need to do is we need to have how each service will have what will have. We approve their quantity. Unit cost will have how much quantity we have. And other things total cost that we have. Here what we are going to do is we are going to loop over all the 5 pages like this is the service right. In the service page list, there are 5 services. Like what we are going to do, we are going to check all the 5 services. Like here, like what we'll do, like we will loop over all the 5 pages in the service page list, and in that 5 pages where the quantity is greater than 0. That means like at least the quantity should be minimum 1. That one alone we will consider as that is the service actually provided, and then we will copy those data alone. I understood. Like here, like we will make like for each service. Yes, 1, 2. Yes. We will check each service from S1 to S5. And when quantity is greater than 0, greater than 0 means it should be obviously like minimum 1. Then like what we are going to do is like we are going to copy. Copy only those services like whatever the service quantity greater than to another apparent case. This is our logic, basic logic. This logic only we have implemented in data. Copy is the only word. Actually, we are doing different type of cases and conditions. Instead of copy, we don't have any copy. We have append. Append means like it's obviously adding. Like we are going using that particular target, and here like where we need to append. That also makes place like where you need to append. You need to append in assistant request. Selected services. Selected services. That if you see first we created the selected services, right? Like in assistant requesting. Like these things like we want like in the selected services of assistant request class we need to make. In order to do that, like we are adding in the pages and class. Because the system doesn't know like where is the selected services, like that system doesn't know. Like we need to make with some keywords. I used the keyword like assistant request, and this assistant request I referred in this pages and classes. Like I see, if you see here I mentioned assistant request class. That what it will system now. It will think like this assistant request page name. Whatever we mentioned here, it is part of the request class. We need to append to this particular class in assistant request. Like that, it will know. Here we put short name assistant request. But it is, what is the example of this that we mentioned to the pages and classes as it is belong to this one? Correct. This one where whatever you want, you can mention it. It's your choice. Definition. Why we are mentioning is that we are helping the system to know that this assistant request, where it's related to assistant request class. For short naming that we are doing here, but actually in places and classes that we are giving explanation from where it belongs. For class Gogo Road, we can actually put the direct thing in definition as well. This particular complete class name. Complete. No. Like a class name. We cannot put here. We need to separately mention them. For that only they gave this option. Like only the naming convention. You need to give it here. If you wanted to use classes, then you need to go and give it here. I understood. By every time like that only. Like whatever class you wanted to use, just you need to mention on page name and then you need to give class. That page you can refer here. Like here. Meaning is like this assistant request is part of a session request class. That is the meaning. I understand. Now just to be saved it. Now you understood the logic, right? It's a easy logic only. If you understand, it will be very easy. Like what we are doing. It's very simple. If you understand this, data transform like 9% of requirements in real time. It can be done. Now we will just to save, then now what we'll do is we'll return back to this particular now we'll try to open it here. It will open the particular data transform which we created. Like in this particular thing, what we'll do is we'll submit it. Now if you see here we got one icon. This means there is some data transform involved in this, that user in a developer will be knowing. Like in this connector, there is some kind of a data transform like this. Now our copying logic has been done. Now what we need to do, we need to make a few other changes. What we need to make is we are initially, we need to make all the data should be 0. Example, first time whenever the customer logs in and the service provider, whatever details the service provider he selects, those details he need to make 0. The first time he only need to fill whatever services he did. He only need to fill. For that what we'll do is we will open this particular App Explorer service, case type, and here we have data model. And in data transform, we will open pivot default data transform. Pivot default is pivot created data transform. For all the case types, whatever you're using in your application, pivot will provide some default data transform. You can, if you want, you can use those default data transform. We also you can remove whatever you want. Here, what we are going to mention is in pages and pages. Here we are going to mention same thing, whatever we used there. Copyright to liable automatically, same logic. No, pivot default, we didn't put the same logic. Pivot default already is the pivot created for us on logic. If you want, you can use the same logic, else you can update that one as well. Actually, we are updating the default logic. Correct? We want to update why? Because we need to make sure that existing logic doesn't affect, whatever Pega created doesn't affect our scenarios. Condition is different or the same things that we were doing earlier. In which context you are saying? Actually, we are doing quantity greater than 0 or this thing. Oh, similar thing we are going to do. Here what we'll do is we have how would we know that? What is the default data transform of Pega? Name will. Every time the name will be pview a default only. What are the conditions that present in default? Like default data transform, like it will be present like whatever values you are using. Example, in your case type you are using some kind of fields, means it will be automatically. It will be showing as in some kind of an 0, like that it will be setting. Like in exam, you will be getting questions like, what is the default data transform available in Pega? You need to say like PVA default. That data runs from name is like PVA default. Like in that, like default, it will be present like whatever we are giving. It won't be present based upon the configuration setup. Now like here, like we will open this copy selected data transform. Here it is there. Now like from App Explorer, like we will open Pega default data transform. This is the default data transform. Like this, only every default data transform will have. This and all out of Pega will provide some kind of a default name property name. That's that one, only it will be present here. If you want, you can delete this and you can add your one thing. Here like we have used like assistant request, right? That one, we are going to there and like here in this pages and classes, we are going to refer this and then same way class name. We are going to do that. Like why here, what we are doing is like we are making that value to be 0 every time. That only we are going to do here. I understand. Like here. See like here, what logic we wrote like? We wrote like whenever quantity is greater than 0, that time like in a service page, in each service page it will check. Whenever the quantity is greater than 0, then we are going to append it to the selected services in assistant request class. Here we need to make sure like every unit for initial, this will be the initial data transform. By default, by Pega itself will run this. Like that time, we wanted to make sure like initially like quantity should be 0 only by because like first time you selected quantity 2, next time you are selecting quantity 3, means that sometimes in back end it will be stored in that way. In back, it is stored in that way in order to make that like we are making here. By default, the quantity should be 0. For that, like I am adding here and here, like what I am going to do is like I am going to add for each page enough services, for each page in the, for each record in the services I am making, like quantity is equal to 0. At the first time, like a quantity should be 0 only every time. Like after that when, if they fill, that is enough and that's what I told you in example, right? Travel booking, I default journey date should be to today's date. Like if the customer wants, they will change it to tomorrow, day after tomorrow whenever they are traveling. Same thing here when default the quantity should be 0. If the service provider, he wants to update 1 or 2, he can update it in like by default first time in whenever you are opening. By default, it should be quantity should be 0 only, right? Like after that, like the service provider, whatever he did, he can do that one, right? Understood, right? Like way equal to 10 is what exactly this is urgency. Urgency means like priority, like default priority is 10. We signed yesterday, point. The default will be 10 urgency. Now, like we have did all these things. Now, like we will try to run on case and now we will see whether it is populating or not. Now, like I will create new assistant request case type. I'm going to enter some kind of a default thing. I'm going to continue and there is not required field. I'm going to just pass it. And here, like I'm going to select something. I'm going to process this case as well, actually by doing data transfer. Is it directly connect to that resolution? Like now giving to data. Correct? You don't know. Only actually we don't need to do anything like just make data transfer in that services. Just like you added on data transform. Here you made that logic. You made copying right. You refer that where to copy. You are copying to assist and request case. Only we made this. Nowhere apart from that in the fight. Actually we are giving them. They need to give me data. Correct. Here, like what we'll do is like by default, like what we'll lose, like a battery replacement, like we can give it one battery replacement, one like we will go and then like an exit thing is like a gasoline, like we'll give it a cent too. Battery placement, one is 51, 50 and gasoline 2 is like a 10, 10, 2 into 20, totally 170. Only these two need to be copied now. Now also it has been not copied. Why like? Because like we have not updated and proper class name. It is not updated proper class name. This is the clipboard. Like if you want to debug anything, that time you can go for clipboard and you can debug the necessity things. Like in this A3 class, like what we are going to do is like we are going to click on PV work page. Here, the particular class name is not there at all. Like the class name that we are using, right, like assistance, assist, request, those things is not there. Like we will use like default Pega provided details there. What will be the Pega provided details is like it will be PV work cover. Here like what we are going to do is like we are going to add some PV work cover as the default instead of assistance request. Like why we give PV work cover instead of like some random thing. What we gave is like in Pega, like we have two terminologies. One is like PV work page. Another one is like PV work cover. What is mean by PV work page is like suppose like assistant request here is like assistant request is parent case, right? Like whatever you are processing. Example, you are selecting first name is and Thomas and second, like you are making a Hyundai i10, those things. All details will be stored under PV work page. PV work page of this particular parent varies. Like whatever details you are processing in service case, it will be stored under PV work cover. Why? Because like all the child case related details, it will be stored under PV work cover. Parent case details, it will be stored under PV work. Like if you are giving in that way same name, like actually where you know that we need to give this name from where, and this one like by default by person Pega technical terminology, like we have already this one here, we know like we need to know that main configuration setup. Like whenever you hear about PV work page, like only like the main parent case, the details will be have it here. By default, these only two names. By default, only these two names. Correct. The default Pega will have only these two names. PV work page will be mandatory for parent case and PV work cover will be mandatory for channel child case. Every time. Is it every time? Every time like what? In real time. If you see in your Bank of America project, like whatever project, all decline, same thing. This is Pega defined thing. It won't change based upon different client, different application and all. This is standard. Is it provide like a bigger? Doesn't provide like naming combination. No, like it provides but only apart from this exception. If you want to have some other things need to be copied, then it will be provided. But parent detail, child detail, everything, it will be provided in PV page and PV cover respectively. Only specific for parent and child. Correct parent and child, right understood here. Like we need to change that pre-work cover in default as well. We need to change there as well, right? Like what we'll do is like we changed here, right? Like what we'll do is like we'll change there also, we'll go for PV default and we'll save it. And we'll save it for each page in of the services. Like what we are doing, like we made like quantity is gray equal to 0, like we will save it. And here, like what we did is like when for each pages in the services, the quantity is greater than 0, like when we were, it's like pandit this one. And now like we'll try to run a new case. कोई है no? Here, what we will do is battery replacement 1 gasoline. totally like it's in 70. Now like we will submit it. Now, if you see here, like our two things got added here, like in the selected services thing, like which is in the resolution. Now we are getting that. Now we got this particular data. This is Sari. No. Like here, the first row is empty, right? It is because like first time, like the server selected service list initialization. We can remove this first row as well. If you want to remove, then like what we need to go is like we need to open this particular PV, a default data transform, and here PV set field defaults. Is there right? Here like what we can do is like the services that PBOA label is equal to null. It is there. Like here, what we can do is like we can delete this one. Like an example, if I'm deleting this, I'm just giving that one. Now like I'm going here. This since already it is created. It is showing. Now if you create new case means like we will not see that first step, empty step. Now we need to do one more thing is actually we created this entire thing. But now filling the data is done by. I'm not able to understand. Who need to fill this entire data? Which entire data? That you are filling right now. Like issue. And this is where we default this copy selected everything. No. This is a part of process. But after completion and entire things that data, the state, city state, who is filling the data. If you see here, like till this particular 4 screens, customer will fill. Example like he will fill. After this, like when we click on create, that's it. The request will be created. Here this also customer will fill, like whatever the payment information they have. That's it. Like our first stage is completed, right? Customer will not see the second, third, fourth stage and all. Like second stage, like it will be assigned to the particular our team. That application team will be assigned. They will assign some service team and they will click on submit. This will be worked by assignment. Here service team is their now respective service team. They will fill in real time. There will be separate portal for each of them. Here, like he will select some to like whatever he made services. He will select that one. And then like finally, like this particular summary, it will be going to the particular people like a reason, like everything, it will be going. After that, like we will be making that particular changes here. Like you should not get in real time, also same thing only. As a developer, you will work in complete flow and you will make all the change and you will do all the development related work. But in real time, and user will not see all the screens at a time. One part only he will see. Remaining other part different people will see. For that, we need to wait. He can fill his detail first time and he can just get that receipt of whatever the review last day. Correct. First stage you will see and last stage you will see. Last stage you will see like this is the particular. That's why we mentioned there. Who is the user like? Correct. We have mentioned right. For that only we have option everywhere. Current visual services. Correct. If you see here like attachment, the first line is removed. First line would be removed. In second, I will wait, open it and show. Your card has been built for your service. This is pretty fun. That one will be removed. Like when we are making these updates and then like we are removing this from our application thing. Because like here it is by default. It has been given here. This one like outside like it's out. It's not in our scope. Like here it's not working like in real time. Be wise at default and pivot default. Every application you have this data transfer. There you can make whatever it needs. This is regarding that one of the important topics in Pega, like entire Pega, not only like CSA, even CSA like in real time working every time, we will use this data transformer. Like you need to like, this particular things that you will be able to do that. Like data transfer is only for last stage or we can do it for in middle phases. Anything you can do it. Not only last stage. First stage. Also, if you want to calculate something means you want to set and you need to move a loop in. Or you want to set something means you can use it. In this example, but we are using in last step, but in 9, every application. It depends based upon your requirements, right? But actually, that's why we are selecting the read only. That's why giving in the form of receipt. We are putting the read only in the last step. Correct? But if you put there like 80 table or something, it could not be the last thing. We can use it in middle phase as well. We can use it. It's purely our choice, only like our child and record. I need to try this. Like, but the answer is much more important. I think I need to try it. You need to see it. And actually another thing is like you here, like cause superclass data transform. What is mean by superclass data transform is like the current data transform, like whatever you created, it is in which class it is in service class. Like what it will be doing is like whenever this particular enable feature is enabled, it identifies the parent of the current class. Such as like if I open here, like it will open. If it's saying like superclass data is not found. Because like this is the only class like the same name. If this with the same name, if you have like 3 different classes, then it will be picking superclass. For example, here we are there, right? Like what is our class name here? It is in services. Go road. Work service. Like what you are doing is like you are creating the same name. same name you are creating. And class you given us like work class. And again, what you are doing is like another data transform is there with the same name. And here, like what you are doing to do is like you are going to give in this particular class name. Like what it will do is like first time, it will whenever you enable this checkbox, whenever you enable the checkbox first time, it will check for this particular Google road, which is in this particular parent. Then next it will check here. Then only it will come to your particular configuration. Because this is like parent hierarchical structure. Like this is the parent topmost, and this is like next level, and this is next, and this is next. In that way, whenever you are enabling, like if the particular property is not found, then it will be going to parent hierarchical structure, and then it will find all the respective things. If you don't know like that, we can create a Google road only. But it takes time. That's why looping and looping it. Correct. Correct. If you don't know, then it. Correct. Like us, since if you see there is only one data, then some created Win service class. Like whenever you click on it, it's showing like no super close data. Then some phone. Now in the same way, whenever you are doing in PWay default. Now like if you see here like we have super data, it will open. Lightwent will be opening in workover class. If you see here workover class, it's open. It is like selecting like from the top mode parent class. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.